I do think one of the side effects, we've talked about this in various forms over the last year, really, that we've been doing this show, is that we're seeing this continual evolution to larger companies, that enterprises are investing in these larger platforms. And you're seeing that sort of go the other way. I've been sort of critical of ServiceNow a little bit. And it's not just ServiceNow, Salesforce, all of these. You have to be a really big company now to get their attention.
Hmm.
And it's interesting that another piece of news from a company that isn't anywhere near that same level of sort of mind share, and that is Avaya. And they just with their, so you found this, right? That they have their Avaya experience platform they call AXP, and they made an announcement that they're changing the minimums of their seat count to get, I really guess to use the product at all, which is just utterly fascinating to me. Um, so maybe you can kind of walk us through that, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it's just that AXP, the Avaya Experience platform, is their contact center platform, and they're basically saying that they are going to cut off customers that have less than 200 seats. And they sent out this note basically saying, yeah, we realize this might be an operational problem for you. We're also going to cut off things like Avaya SIP trunking that you might be using to support voice in your organization. They're basically cutting off products and focusing on what is most profitable at the highest scale. And in Avaya's case, they've been loaded with debt and really need to make some smarter decisions. But I think this is also a trend that has been happening in the enterprise software world too. In other cases, VMware being the most obvious example, because everybody wants to be more profitable and more productive and more efficient, at least in theory. Even the ones that are, even companies that are already profitable, everybody is just trying to chase after the top. And I see the mid market as kind of being abandoned, and perhaps this market is a new opportunity for some startup that just wants to copy what has been created before, but do it in a cost effective manner.
I do think it's interesting. I think that it speaks to a few things. One is I think organizations for years, when it's been all about growth and expansion, are now starting to double down and focus on much more narrow niches. They're saying this is where we can win, this is where we want to play. And for a lot of companies, particularly those like these large companies that have to hit large growth numbers, and to your point of seeking profitability, that often pushes them to the higher end of the market. It is very expensive for them to go down market. And so I think we're going to continue to see that sort of evolution. If you're a large company, I think focusing on partnering with these other large companies that are selling into large, it's going to be that sort of alignment. And then if you're someone like Zoho, as an example, this is really good
Mhm.
news, right? As we see this sort of evolve around the landscape, because that small to medium sized enterprise market becomes, wide open for the taking. So, I think it's just a data point. I think if you're a CIO, I think it used to be a common platform, a common playing field. And now I think you're going to see a much more measured approach to say, based on kind of how big a company you are, that may dictate the type of companies you're choosing. And it may not be the quote unquote best of breed. That may in fact not be your best choice.
Mhm.